Are you currently in architecture school or about to start? Well, I have some pretty important advice for you. I'm Jansen and I've been an architect for over 10 years now. I've taught at university, mentored countless students, and I've even served as an assessor at the Architects Registration Board. In this video, I'm going to share 3 critical skills that all young architects should master, plus 3 invaluable tips that I give to all my students. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this. And no, I'm not going to talk about creativity and design skills. You should already know how important these are. What I'm about to cover in this video are practical skills that will help you navigate through architecture school and set you up for your career. So the first skill is networking. This is something I really wished I worked on more at uni. I regret not spending more time to build relationships. I was an introvert and so I was too shy to get out of my comfort zone. There is this African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And looking back at my time in uni, I think I had the go fast and go alone mindset. But I realized that way of thinking was a bit short-sighted. I could argue that I probably benefit from my university friends than the university course itself, because 10 years after graduating, I'm still learning from my peers. Your network of peers become an endless resource. You might learn more from your peers than their tutors and professors. This is because you're going to see them almost every day, and you're most definitely going to have a group chat where you can ask questions 24/7. You'll be sharing resources such as textbooks, modeling materials, and tools. You'll be going to see buildings together, and your friends might pick up on details that you wouldn't have noticed. And you might just learn a quick shortcut that might save you 10 hours. All my friends now work at different companies, they work at different projects, and they learn different things. So we all have so many things to share. I remember that Australia's most famous architect, Glenn Murcutt, used to boast that he never subscribed to magazines. But he did have a lot of friends that read magazines. And when his friends saw something truly unique, he would send it to Glenn. Having friends like this is like having multiple eyes everywhere. It's an invaluable resource. You don't have to be friends with everyone, but you should talk to as many people as you can. As much as I love working at home, I think all students should try to attend class in person. This gives you more chance to have the serendipitous interactions. And don't just talk to people in your class. Talk to your seniors, your juniors, and try to keep in contact with your teachers. Time management. This next skill is probably the most important thing that I'm going to talk about. And you probably already know about it. You're going to have so many things to juggle in your career, and it's essential that you get this right. The key to developing time management skill is being organized and getting a good grasp at how long things take. That's the hardest part. I still remember one of the first pieces of advice that our uni professor gave us over 10 years ago. It must have been in first year. He was really old and he had a really long white beard. And he said, when you start to organize your time for your assignments, estimate how long each task will take and then double it to get something more realistic. And it was actually pretty helpful advice. You have to make allowances for things to go wrong. You're going to make mistakes and you will learn from them. And the best way to get a grasp of how long things take is to keep a log or a journal, because you can't improve what you don't measure. So what I used to do was to take these free university diaries that I used to give out. In these diaries, the semester weeks were all mapped out and I plotted when all the assignments are due. Whenever I approached the end of the semester, which is usually the busiest time of the year, I plotted every single hour of the day. I even went to the extreme to plan out exactly how much sleep I was going to get, because I wasn't sleeping at night at all. I scheduled in strategic naps throughout the day, 3 hours here, 3 hours there. But the most important thing about this exercise is to keep updating your log as you completed your task. For example, if I took an extra 2 hours to finish my drawings, I'd have to update my log and then shuffle the rest of the tasks that I haven't finished. When I started to do this, I realized how precious my time was, so I did everything I could to save time. I used to have this rule where if I had to leave the house, it had to be for more than one reason. For example, if I had to go buy modeling materials, then I might as well go return a book at the library and maybe buy lunch for later or dinner for later, just to save me that travel time for leaving my house. Communication and presentation skills. This is something that may be really obvious to a lot of people, but I only realized this very late. No matter how good your idea is, or how hard and how many hours you worked on it, if you can't communicate and present it effectively, your work becomes a wasted effort. So make sure you make enough time to plan out how you're going to deliver your presentation. Think about what you're going to say, the main selling points, the sequence you're going to tell it, and what people are going to ask. And if you want to take this one step further, you can nerd out on body language, how you stand, where to put your hands, and your voice, your tone, your volume, your pitch, and your rate of speech. And then there's your soft skills, because you're going to be working with a lot of different people. And it really helps if you learn to interact with people effectively. All of this takes a lot of work, and I'm still working on it to this day. There's experts out there that teach this for a living, and there's some really good books. I'll leave a link to the resources below. So I have 3 more quick tips for you, and the first tip is try to get a job as an architecture student as soon as you can. Don't wait until you graduate. I've talked about this in another video, so go watch it to understand why it's so important. I know it's hard to get a job as a student, but you really have to try. Don't just send me emails, go out and meet people. The next best tip is to follow subcontractors on social media. Don't just follow architects. follow bricklayers, carpenters, roofers, and other builders. I'll leave a list to accounts below. Early on in your career, you'll probably get a lot of advice telling you to go on construction sites as often as possible. The reason is so that you can see how things are built. There's only so much you can learn from reading drawings, but it's often very rare for a young architect or a student to be able to get on a construction site. And some of these subcontractors post a great deal on social media, and I personally learn a great deal from their posts. And the last tip is that grades don't matter as much. I used to stress out about my marks too much, and I was too scared to experiment and have fun with my assignments. But I realized that none of my employers out of my whole career have seen my academic transcript. And I've also been to so many interviews and I don't remember anyone asking to see my university marks. I could have never graduated and they would never know. But I'm not telling you to give up on school, you should always try your best. This tip is for those that feel like they're struggling at school, especially in design studio. I'll let you in a little secret. Don't worry if you're not the best designer in your class. The real world is very different to architecture school. Believe it or not, a lot of architects don't end up becoming award-winning architects, and they're still able to make a living doing what they love. And some of these architects make even more money than those award-winning architects that think they can design. But if you do want to win a design award, subscribe, because I'm going to make a video about how I won a design award. And don't just watch this video and forget about it. Start with skill number 1, share this with one of your classmates, use this as a conversation starter and ask them how they're going with uni and see if they have any other tips. And also check out these 2 other videos with more tips. The one about creativity and procrastination is very important as well.